Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is RBT and welcome back to another Madden 18 experiment. And today we're doing an experiment that's pretty similar to one we did last week, but I thought it was pretty freaking interesting when we did it, so we're going to kind of take it to the next level in today's experiment. As you see in the title, what we're going to be doing is seeing what would happen if every 90+ overall player in Madden 18 was released into free agency. Last week we just did what if every team's best player was released into free agency, so today we're taking it a step further. So hopefully you guys do enjoy today's video, and if you do, make sure to drop a like. Let's see if we can smash 2,000 likes for today's experiment video. Let me know in the comment section below any ideas you have for future Madden 18 experiments. Be sure to subscribe if you are new and turn on the notification bell if you haven't. But with that said, gonna look at the free agents that are available for teams to sign. We're gonna sim like into the next week and see where all of these guys end up. And I do want to say the players that were released into free agency were the ones that were 90+ overall with like the raw roster ratings, because now, for example, like in this particular connected franchise, there's a lot of players that are on teams that are like 91+. That's because the overall is skewed based on the scheme that the Seahawks picked. I just randomly picked the Seahawks for this experiment. But like with the raw overall rating offline, when the ratings aren't like changed because of the scheme that you have, that's how I did determine which players I did release into free agency. So what we're going to do is sim into week number 2 of the preseason and see where all of these free agents end up. I would like to give a massive shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. SeatGeek is the #1 app when it comes to getting the best ticket for the best price to any sporting event out there. There's actually more than just sports that you can get tickets for on the app. You can get concert tickets, you can get Broadway show tickets, comedy tickets, music festival tickets, and a lot more. There will be a link to go download the app in the description box below, and once you go download the app, use the code RBT to get $20 off your first purchase. And once again, thanks so much to SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. They are a fantastic company, and I would not agree to do this otherwise. But with that said, guys, let's get into the rest of the video. Sometimes they all don't get signed at one time, so jumping into the free agency, there's still a lot of players. Like, did anybody get signed? What the heck? Why don't we go ahead and jump into the regular season? And that's weird. Don't know why teams wouldn't jump at the chance to. Well, we signed JJ Watt. What the? I'm so confused. I am so freaking confused at what the heck is going on in this world. This world is turning into the apocalypse. So now, if we go and see what the heck happened in free agency, and it looks like, okay, so now everybody got signed. Did I sign JJ Watt? Like, that thing said I signed JJ Watt, but maybe it's just the work of the devil. So with that said, now let's go roster by roster and see who ended up where. So I don't know what that was about because I didn't sign JJ Watt. So let's see if there's any teams out there that signed like multiple free agents. I'm sure there's gonna be somebody that just went crazy and signed a ton of players. But anyways, the Steelers, they signed Le'Veon Bell. That's weird. That's really weird. They re-signed Le'Veon Bell. Anyways, moving on to the Texans. They signed, okay, I was kind of scared. I was like, what if they just re-signed the players that they released? Anyways, so the Texans got Melvin Ingram to replace J.J. Watt. Now moving along to the Titans, we signed Marshall Yanda and Tyler Eifert because we did have to release Delaney Walker, so we replaced Delaney Walker with Tyler Eifert. Now the Vikings signed Calais Campbell and Pat Pete. That's a pretty sick secondary right there. Now, the Bears, they did not sign anybody. They didn't have anybody released, so they're just like, F it. We're not going to do anything. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, they signed a lot of guys. They signed a lot of good guys. Greg Olsen, Antonio Brown, Justin Houston, the left tackle for the Packers, I can never pronounce his name right, and Des Bryant. So the Bengals, you got to remember though, last time around we did this, they signed a lot of the 99 overall players, but they ended up not even doing good. So we'll have to see, they've got to do good with those players. So the Bengals are a team to look out for once again. The Browns were the team in the last video that signed a lot of good players too, so I have to see what the Browns did in free agency. But the Bills made 2 massive signings. Aaron Donald and Bobby Wagner. And another thing, the players that are injured in real life, like the injuries are off, so no players that are actually injured in real life will still be injured in the video, so that won't mess anything up. But that's 2 pretty big additions to make to your defense right there. 2 of the best players at their respective positions added to your team. The Bills could be another one to look out for. Now the Broncos, they re-signed Von Miller, so that's kind of not interesting, but they did not sign a cornerback to make up for the 2 losses of Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. So the Broncos are probably going to suck in this video. The Browns, they only made 2 signings. They signed Harrison Smith and Darius Slay and Keenan Allen. So they did make 3 signings, but not anywhere close to what they did the last video. The Buccaneers signed AJ Green, they re-signed Levante David, and that's about it. Now the Cardinals, they only signed Mike Daniels, and they had a ton of players released, so the Cardinals are probably going to suck. The Chargers signed Jalen Ramsey, Earl Thomas, Travis Frederick, and that's good. That's a good 3 signings for the Chargers, so they probably are going to do well. I think the Chargers actually did really well in the last video too, so with that said, with these additions, their secondary is going to be stacked. They should have a good year. Now the Chiefs lost a couple players. They signed Ndamukong Suh, Cam Chancellor to replace Eric Berry, and that's about it. Now the Indianapolis Colts made a couple big signings. Kaiwan Short and Odell Beckham Jr. Now, that's going to be an interesting wide receiver combination. Odell Beckham and T.Y. Hilton. The Cowboys only signed 2 players. Chris Harris and Landon Collins. Just like last video, I think they did the same exact thing. They actually signed just a couple players to help out in their secondary. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they signed Luke Kuechly and Ezekiel Elliott. So 2 massive signings for the Miami Dolphins. The Philadelphia Eagles, oh my God, signed Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Jordan, and they also re-signed Lane Johnson because he's also another one of the players that got released. So that's crazy. That's 2 pretty big signings for the Eagles. Picture the Eagles offense in real life with Gronk added to it. Now the Falcons, they signed Tom Brady, Jordan Reed, Everson Griffin, and that's it. But that's a pretty good trio of signings to make on your team. So they replace the main man Matt Ryan with another main man Tom. They didn't replace Julio Jones with a wide receiver, but they did give him a great target Jordan Reed to throw to. Now the 49ers, they signed one man, Jimmy Graham. They didn't release anybody because they didn't have any 90 overall players. Jimmy Graham is a pretty decent addition, but they're probably still going to suck regardless. Now the Giants signed a couple good men. Travis Kelce, David Johnson, and Eric Berry to replace Landon Collins, who they did have to release. Now the Jacksonville Jaguars, they signed Russell Wilson and Casey Hayward to replace Jalen Ramsey. But just actually think about how good the Jaguars would be in real life if they signed Russell Wilson. I would be a scared man as a Titans fan. The Jets signed Zach Martin, and that's the only signing that they did make. The Lions signed Doug Baldwin, and that's the only signing that they made. The Packers signed J.J. Watt, Aqib Talib, Richard Sherman, Fletcher Cox, Devonta Freeman, and Matt Ryan. So they lose Aaron Rodgers, but god dang, they make a huge improvement. And I'm going to say right here, my prediction is for the Packers to win the Super Bowl because that's insane. Their defense has got to be like the best in the NFL now. That's stupid. Now the Panthers, they only signed, I'm pretty sure this is a new signing, Brandon Scherf. I don't even remember releasing him. But anyways, the Panthers have him, and that's the only signing they did make. The Patriots didn't make any signings to replace Tom Brady. So the Patriots, don't expect them to have a good year because their best quarterback is Brian Hoyer. Moving along, the Raiders, they signed Khalil Mack, so they had to re-sign him, and they also bolstered the defensive line with Brandon Graham, and that's it. The Rams, they didn't make any signings, so that sucks for them. The Ravens signed Aaron Rodgers, Joe Thomas, Gerald McCoy. So that's 3 big additions, but I still think the Packers are going to beat them. The Redskins signed David DeCastro, Drew Brees, and that's it. But that's still two pretty big signings there. I don't know why they signed Drew Brees. I mean, they do have Kirk Cousins, and obviously he is an improvement from Kirk Cousins, but normally they don't make signings like that if they already have a good 87 overall quarterback at that position. But moving to the Saints. They did not sign a quarterback to replace Drew Brees, and they only signed DeMarcus Lawrence. And I'm the Seahawks, and we didn't sign anybody. I put it on auto signings, but still didn't do anything. And that's it. So the 2 teams to look out for, I'm going to say, is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers are going to be my Super Bowl prediction with everybody they sign. Like, god dang, dude. Like I said, I know they lost Aaron Rodgers, but that defense is going to be deadly, and now they have a good running back as well. So with that said, boys, all that's left to do is simulate to the playoffs, and I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below who your Super Bowl prediction is. Now, going division by division, the Bengals did have a massive year, and I kind of expected it with the signings they did make, so they are a Super Bowl contender. Now, moving along, the Browns had a crazy year. They didn't even sign that many good players. So, crazy year in Browns terms, 8-8. That's like 8 times more wins than they've gotten the last 2 years combined. But they did good. They actually didn't combine with the division. The Ravens did, and the Ravens actually made some pretty big signings. Didn't they sign Tom Brady? I can't remember. But they went bottom of the division. The Steelers went 9-7. They do make the playoffs, although they did lose Antonio Brown. AFC South, the Jaguars, I expected that fully with the signing of Russell Wilson. My Titans, unfortunately, went 8-8. And that's how we played yesterday against the Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost the last 3 games and actually ended up 8-8. But anyways, AFC East, the Patriots without Tom Brady go 6-10, so they did lose Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. The Bills win the division. They made some good signings. The Jets actually made the playoffs, and they didn't even really sign anybody good, so I don't know what that's about. They went 8-8. AFC West, the Chiefs had a great year at 13-3. The Broncos actually didn't do as bad as I thought they were. They went 7-9. I thought they were going to win maybe like 3 or 4 games. So the Chargers, that's a real shocker because they made some pretty good signings, and they normally do really well in simulations, but they go 7-9, bottom of the division. Now moving into the NFC, my Super Bowl prediction is looking pretty good as of right now as the Packers go 12-4. The Bears had a bad year, Vikings bad year, and the Lions all bad years. So maybe it's just because the NFC North was so bad. Maybe that's why the Packers did so good. We'll have to see. NFC South, no surprise the Saints did the worst in the division because they didn't sign anybody to replace Drew Brees. Falcons, not too surprised at that because they made some pretty good signings, went 11-5, and the Panthers went 9-7. NFC East, the Eagles look like they had the best record in the NFL, going 14-2. They signed Gronk, so maybe that's the big reason why they went 14-2. Redskins 6-10. Cowboys did bad again. They always do bad in Sims no matter what. The Giants went 5-11. Now, last division, NFC West, the Rams went 12-4. The 49ers went 8-8, and that's another one that's really surprising. They only made 1 signing. I think the only player they signed was Jimmy Graham, and somehow he made them like 5 times better than what they are in real life. And the Cardinals went 6-10. Now, with that said, let's go and see who won the MVP, and that is Matt Ryan. Matt, 2 players. 2 of the quarterbacks that got on new teams came the top 2 in the MVP race. Matt Ryan only threw 50 touchdowns, only 11 more than anybody else in the NFL. And it looks like Brian Hoyer, no wonder the Patriots did so bad, threw 20 picks. So Zeke with the Dolphins actually had a pretty good year, 1,400 yards. Marshawn Lynch had 1,300 yards. But Todd Gurley came close to getting 2,000 yards in the year with 19 touchdowns. And LeGarrette Blount, god dang, having a great year. No wonder the Eagles did so good. So how about receiving-wise? Any new receiver do well? Nope, Jordy Nelson. 3 receivers with 1,000 yards, and one of them's Doug Baldwin on the Lions. So that's a new signing. But Mike Wallace, another weird receiver to have a good year. So who led the NFL in yards, actually? Martavis Bryant. That's the 2nd time that happened. That's the same exact thing that happened in the last video with Antonio Brown leaving. Martavis Bryant led the NFL in receiving yards. That's just weird. And the newest receiver is Doug Baldwin had the best year. But Antonio Brown had 1,200 yards. Where did Julio Jones go? Like, where? I don't even remember seeing Julio Jones get signed by anybody. Like, did he just, like, disappear, like, into thin air? Like, did Julio Jones die? Like, where is Julio? I'm telling you, he just, like, disappeared into existence and became, like a tree or something. Yeah, dude, I'm looking everywhere. I don't know where Julio went. The man died. So, to end off today's video, we're going to see who won the Super Bowl. I'm going to stick with my prediction and say the Packers beat the Bengals. The Packers over the Bengals is my prediction. And did I get it correct? It's probably going to be the Eagles, actually. And it is the Eagles over the Jaguars. Not surprised the Jaguars made it, but the Eagles, even though they really didn't sign, well, they signed Gronk, but aside from that, didn't make too many huge signings, but they still win the Super Bowl 24-21. This might be a Super Bowl matchup we actually see in real life. I mean, it is kind of hurt the Eagles a lot that Carson Wentz is out for the rest of the year, but who knows? The Rams destroyed the Packers, and the Jaguars destroyed the Bengals. So my 2 predictions didn't even make it out of the divisional round. But anyways, boys, that is going to do it for today's experiment video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, make sure to drop a like. Let's see if we can smash 2,000 likes for today's experiment video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on the notification bell if you haven't. But with that said, I will catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.